Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Adam. So in today's video I'm going to share with you guys how to make a simple baby dress using a floral print fabric. I think it's polyester because it has a bit of stretch to it. So if you want to know how to make this dress, please do keep on watching this video. I'm feeling high. So I'm going to be using various tools to create this dress. I'll be using a ruler, a curve, my scissors, the fabric of course, your tailor's chalk, and a jotter and a pen. So I have cut out two rectangles for this dress. The smaller rectangle is for the bodice while the larger rectangle is for the skirt part of the dress. So for the bodice, the length of the rectangle is 8.5 inches while the width is 14 inches, and for the skirt part the length is 11.5 inches while the width is 17.5 inches. So I'm just going to fold my bodice rectangle in two and go ahead to draft my bodice pattern. So the first thing I'm going to do is to plot the neck measurements. So for my neck measurements, I used 4 inches as neck width and 3 inches as neck depth. Please do not follow what I did in this video because I actually did it and realized that my baby's head was larger and could not fit through the dress because I was not using a button or a zipper in this dress. So always measure your baby's head before you actually go ahead and plot the neck measurement. So I used 3 inches as neck depth and 4 inches as neck width. So after marking the 2 points, I just used my curve to join the two points together to form a curve for the neck. And after joining those two curves together with your curve, you basically already have your neck measurement. So the next thing I did was to go ahead and also measure my shoulder. So my baby's shoulder measures 4.5 inches. So on that fold, I'm going to mark 4.5 inches on the fabric. Now, on that point where you have marked the 4.5 inches for your shoulder, you are also going to measure your armhole measurement. So I also used 4.5 inches for my baby's armhole measurement, and so I placed my tape on that shoulder point and marked 4.5 inches downwards to show her armhole, where her armhole is going to end. So I use my ruler to join the 2 points together, that is the shoulder point to the 4.5 points that I made for the armhole. So after you have done this, the next step is simply to measure your baby's round chest measurement. Now your round chest measurement is going to be divided by 4 because we are cutting this on a fold. Okay, so for the round chest, my baby's round chest is 5.5 inches after dividing by 4. So I simply marked 5.5 inches. Now I'm going to use a ruler to connect everything together, and please do add seam allowance if you are making this dress. If you are cutting the bodies, do add seam allowance. I later added seam allowance when I wanted to cut out mine, and then I added a curve. I just created a curve on that armhole line where the armhole point joins the shoulder point. That is the line. I created a curve there because the armhole is curved and not just straight. So after doing that, the next step is simply to go ahead and cut out the bodice. As you can see, I didn't start cutting exactly on that straight line that I drew to signify my round chest because I left like about 1 inch for seam allowance. So make sure you leave about 1 inch for seam allowance. After that, I also forgot to add my shoulder slope, so I went back and measured 1 inch downwards, sorry, half an inch downwards on that shoulder point, and then I used my ruler to join that 1 inch point to the end of my neck width. Okay, so you will have a slope because the shoulder is slopey and not just straight. So the next thing after that is to cut out with the scissors, and after cutting out with the scissors, I will also go ahead and make the back of my bodice as well. So when you're done cutting, you should have a front panel that looks like this. For the back, we are simply going to make a copy of the back on the front, of the front panel on the back as well. The only adjustment I made is to make the neckline higher for the back by measuring 1 inch and then using that as my neckline. So you measure 1 inch and then your neck width will still be the same as that of the front. Every other thing remains the same, so I'll just go ahead and cut out every other thing as it is in the front. So when you're done cutting out the front and the back panel, it should look like this. So you should have a back with a higher neckline than the front. The next step is to join the top part to the lower part of the dress. To do that, I'm going to measure the waist of my top part, or the end of my top part. Mine is 13 inches. And now I'm going to measure my lower part. Like I said before, the width of this is 17.5 inches. Obviously 17.5 inches is more than 13 inches. So what we're going to do is to gather this lower part so that it will be able to fit into the 13 inches of the waist, or the end of the top part. So by the time we gather the dress, by the time we've gathered the lower part and you join it to the top part, it's going to look something like this. For the lower part, I am going to use my basic thread and needle to just make large stitches all through the edge of the fabric, and then when I'm done making those last stitches, I'll pull it to create the gathers. I also made sure to measure what I was doing against my top part constantly, just to make sure that it is actually the same measurement, 13 inches. After that, I am going to take it to the sewing machine and join the two parts together, that is the gathered lower part to the top part of the dress. I'm also going to join other parts of the dress as well. I'm going to sew the sleeves together, and then I will also sew the sides of the dress together. So as you can see, this is how I sewed the sleeves together, and if you have a weaving machine or an overlock machine, you can actually use it to make the finishing of the inner part cleaner and smoother, like a ready-made dress. So after joining all the parts together, the next step is simply to also finish the ends of the cloth, that is the lower end. So as you can see, I have sewn the base of the dress. So for the neck, I'm going to put a bias strip on the neck. So to put the bias strip, I have to measure the neck, the round neck. So I'm going to use my tape to just go around the neck, measuring the neck. So I measured it bit by bit and I added all the measurements I got together to get the round of my neck. I was trying to get a really accurate measurement. So please, you can do this as well. So now that I have gotten the full measurements, the next thing is to cut out a bias strip. As you can see, I have my bias strip here. It is 1 inch in width and the length, of course, is the round neck measurement that I got. So I'm going to take it to my machine and sew it to finish my neck. So when you are done putting your bias, it should look something like this, like I have here. And the bias is necessary because it makes the finishing of the neck really neat and professional looking. So the next thing now is to do my sleeves. For the sleeves, I am going to use these 2 strips of fabric for the 2 sleeves. So what I am going to do is to measure the fabric. So I'm using 11.5 inches of fabric in length, and this is on a fold already. I have actually folded it, and the width is 4.5 inches. I have folded this already actually to make my sleeve, please. So after that, I am going to go ahead to create my sleeve curve. So to create this curve, I'm going to measure 3 inches on the extreme edge of my fabric, that is on the edge that is not folded. I'm going to measure 3 inches there, and then on that, from that 3-inch point, I'm going to try to create a curve using my free hand. If you're an experienced sewer, you know that the sleeve curve normally looks like something like this. So I'm just creating a sleeve curve, but one that is larger because I'm going to create ruffles with it. Even if you're not an experienced sewer, just know that you have to create a curve like this to be able to make those ruffles that you want. So after creating the curve, I'm going to use my scissors to cut out. So when you are done cutting, you should have something that looks like this. I'm going to take it to my machine and sew on a large stitch all through the edge of the curve to create my ruffles. So as you can see here, I have already sewed all through the edge of the curve, and now I'm pulling one of the thread. I use a large stitch. I put my stitch on 5 and I'm using the last stitch, and after that I'm pulling the thread, one of the thread, not the 2 threads, one of the thread. And when you pull it, you will notice that it kind of forms ruffles. So that is what I'm doing. I'm forming the ruffle, and when you're forming the ruffle, you're going to try to make it to be the same measurement with your armhole. So this is my completed ruffle. I'm just simply going to sew the 2 edges of the armhole of the sleeve together and join it to my dress. This is the completed dress. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please do like, share and subscribe if you did. Thanks for watching.